Alrighty, everybody, and welcome back. We are going to our fourth match of the day of the inaugural Edmonton Public Schools Spring League of Legends Tournament. And we're going to be having Sheppard versus Jasper Place. And by the glory of God, we are having our first tournament draft of the day. So we all get to sit here in client, look at the draft picks, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, right now I wish that we kind of had like screen overlays where we could just have confetti and flying around. It's honestly like the last game, even though it wasn't really an official draft, it was done through another program. It kind of gave you a taste of what kind of I cannot talk right now.
I know, kind of give you an idea of what like traditional tournament draft looks
like.
Yeah,
there we go.
Traditional tournament draft isn't as clean of an overlay, but you guys get to see actively what champions everybody are. And most importantly, I think you get to see like which tags. And so it doesn't look quite as clean, but you do get like a lot more information from seeing the in-client one. So we are currently just waiting for we had a last second, I need to go to the bathroom kind of thing. So we'll be underway as soon as they are done with that. But you know what that lets us do? It lets us open my lovely stat sheet so I can seem super informed about these teams. So out of Sheppard coming down, and they're mostly like a silver gold team. Looks like they do have some dedicated people, and it looks like they actually were actively scrimming together. So we should see some cool synergy coming out from them. And on the note of Jasper, let me just scroll up my list here. All right. And then it looks like most of Jasper Place is roughly in the silver gold region. So we actually do have fairly similar teams. Looks like they do actually play quite a few champions all together. And I think we should actually see quite an interesting draft and honestly a pretty close game just by looking at what we have here. But as we are getting into picks and bans here, and we'll get started with our first ban here. Do you have any hot takes of what bans are going to come out here? Oh, Oren, get him out of here.
Oh, no. Just get rid of the tanks, honestly. And the...
Yeah, Senna's a good ban.
Yeah. Okay, just going back to the Oren, going back to the idea of engage. It's a really good engage. And I do think that I did see someone practicing Swain a whole bunch. So I'm not sure if this is
maybe a target ban?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see out of the two bans at the beginning too, because actually Senna and Oren benefit from this lovely thing called being valuable by existing. Because Oren gets to build you upgraded items, all your units at I think level 13 he gets his own, and level 14 he can start upgrading the mythics of all the champions around him. So even if you're not doing so high, if you make it to level 14, you're getting value to your team that otherwise wouldn't be there. And obviously Senna just infinitely scales because of her passive. So even yet again, you're having a bit of a rough early game. If you can get to that late game, you're going to be strong basically no matter what. So it's very interesting to see those picks removed from the table. And I think we got an early Cho'Gath coming down. That's very likely a top lane. It's kind of rare in the mid lane these days. And we got a Galio coming out who's probably the other mid laner, but you can flex into support. And man, they know what they're playing. They're like, oh, okay, we're picking this. I got it all planned out beforehand. And the Zac coming down too. So what do you think they're going to pick maybe to counter this Zac or play around this Zac?
Well, I don't think I even need to talk because I see a Lilia being
I see a Lilia. That's it right there.
Yeah, going back to the point of Cho'Gath, actually, I did Gnar. In his mini form, he is able to bully this Cho'Gath in the early game very much. So that is just a good ban from the side of Jasper Place to kind of.
Did John Cena actually pick Teemo? Guys, we're actually not going to be able to see him during the game. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh my God, hopes and dreams have been dashed live on broadcast. But a solid Yuumi pick coming out of here. Not as strong in lane, but going to allow just a ton of speed or later in the game and just a ton of healing to come down. So I'm interested to see what bans we got here. It's very clear we have the right side here. We have the Galio, Zac, and Yuumi picks. So likely the mid laner, jungler, and support picked. And on the other side here, it looks like we have the top laner, likely the mid laner, and the jungle picked as well. So I think we're going to see some support bans maybe coming out from the red side, which you saw with the Leona, and then maybe some AD carry and maybe some top lane bans coming out from the blue side.
Yeah, Bane is a really good ban though, because she kind of gets all our items and stuff. She is able to kind of just shred Cho'Gath really fast. She is able to shred tanks. So taking that off of the table for Sheppard, yeah, it's a good ban. And then it's also taking away the potential engage from Leona. Obviously, there are other support champions that are available, possibly a Rakan. We might even see a Rel coming out, but yeah, just taking away this engage, limiting.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, I have to bug our broadcast or observer. I can't see the thing right now because they're currently tabbed out. Got the bans coming down here. A Jinx ban. So actually, really, what Jasper Place was focusing on was trying to ban out hyper carries, but then Ross Sheppard comes in and just steals the Kai'Sa, gets one of the last hyper carries sitting on the field, and then picking up the misfortune down here. So it's looking like Jasper Place is trying to get a kind of more of a team fight comp. Well, it looks like Ross Sheppard is trying to get more of that scale. They also have a team fight comp, but it looks a little bit more scaling based, while the mid game looks a lot stronger on the side.
Our second fight of the day
Of Jasper Place.
Yeah, with the side of Ross Sheppard, kind of, they have, I think it's like a little bit of a dive comp. You have to get Zach jumping in. Kai'Sa can also fly in, and I'm going to be very confused if, maybe not confused, but if Ivan gets locked in. Nope, it won't be. It will be the Camille. Okay, so we have
what? Sorry, it just seems like you cut out there real quick.
Oh, sorry. We have this like very heavy like dive focus comp on the side of Ross Sheppard. While I do think that Jasper Place are going to be focusing more on the team fight, getting kind of like the multi-man sleep from Lilia, getting this combo from the Yone. Pike can also have a lot of good stuns as well, and layering that on top of a misfortune bullet time, that can be very damaging.
Yeah, I think a thing too we're gonna see is just like winning lane pressure, because both Zach and Lilia do have like fairly dominant gank pressure and stuff like that. But the Camille is likely going to be winning into the Cho'Gath in lane, particularly if she keeps on him and doesn't let him heal with the passive. Mid lane, I think, is going to be kind of a mixed bag. The Galio kind of has it on paper, but if the Yone plays it correctly and just doesn't really enable the Galio to deny him like he's supposed to, the Yone can get rolling very hard. And actually, the bot lane, I think, is going to be our main focus here, because the problem with Yuumi is she does give you a ton of healing and damage, speed in the late game, but in the laning phase, she doesn't really protect you. She doesn't have any presence. She really only has her Q that she can throw out and like kind of idly poke you. Where on the other side, we have a Pyke, which is hard engaged, tons of damage. So in the early game, he's going to out damage the healing that Yuumi provides. Misfortune is going to outpoke the Kai'Sa. So I think it's really going to be down to, can this Kai'Sa get through laning phase, scale up like she needs to, because then she has a big beefy front line in the form of Zach, Galio, and even Camille to peel them off and hyper carry like she wants to.
Yeah, and with this Galio, he wants to get out of the lane. He wants to get to the side lane, using his ultimate to be able to affect them. So it's going to be interesting to see if Ross Sheppard are able to unlock this mid lane roaming from this Galio.
Yeah, and maybe it'll enable it to make that bot lane a little bit softer, because Zach, once he does have his good engage range, and Galio, you can 4-man bot, and if you do have priority, you might be able to swing the matchup in the Kai'Sa's favor, because yeah, at early, she is quite disadvantaged, but if you get her rolling, even with that Yuumi on her, she's going to start just demolishing over top of it. But I think we've kind of touched on the Ross Sheppard comp enough, so let's talk a little bit about Jasper Place. What are their win conditions? Like, we've talked about the misfortune, the bot lane, but what's going to happen in the other lanes? Where does Lilia kind of need to play to make sure these go successfully?
Also, Lilia, she clears the jungle so fast. So with this fast jungle clear, she's probably going to be able to kind of bully the Zac maybe a little bit, and using that gain these advantages in her lanes. Maybe try to relieve some pressure in the top side to prevent Camille from just scaling out of control. But also, again, focusing on the bot lane, just trying to get the bot lane ahead, making sure that they stay ahead throughout the game.
Yeah, because definitely it seems like Jasper Place is built more around kind of those mid-game fights, because that's when MF is hitting really hard. Lilia is kind of strong throughout the game, but her mid-game is quite potent. Yone is the same way, because in the mid-game, there's usually not a lot of ways to deny his engage. unless the enemy team plays it quite well. And Cho'Gath is kind of strong through the game. He wants to scale into the later game, but he is pretty tanky on that mid-game point where he's got a lot of stacks on him, a lot of health to deal with. So I think they need to kind of win in that mid lane thing, because the mid-game part, because if they let Ross Sheppard get to late game, you've got a basically infinite scaling Kai'Sa with a Yuumi on her. You got Yuumi on a Camille, which will run you down. And they got two beefy boys in the form of the Galio and the Zac, which just makes such a strong front line. So Ross Sheppard definitely favored in those late game team fights, even in the mid game if they do manage to get themselves ahead. While Jasper's play is kind of looking to maybe snowball their powerful lanes and just win in that mid game, take objectives, and try and push their advantage when they have it.
Yeah, if Camille gets like a very big advantage over this Cho'Gath lane, she will become very problematic for like the Misfortune, the Lilia. She maybe even just one-shot them in the late game. So, and also with the peel from, from Jasper Place, it's going to be crucial that they kind of keep the carries alive throughout these team fights to make sure that like they just don't get wombo comboed all sides.
Yeah, you're going to see the Zac and the Galio might not actually need to usually they want to commit to that full dive engage, because that's just, you got engage tools, you want to use them, but they might actually need to hold back, particularly the Galio, and just keep your Kai'Sa alive. You have Camille, which is an insane engage, and she doesn't actually peel the best outside of just a damage threat. So it might almost be better to maybe commit, say, the Camille and the Zac or the Galio to an engage, and then keep one back near the Kai'Sa, because obviously Yuumi's just going to be sitting on the Kai'Sa, and just make sure this Kai'Sa is alive and as safe as humanly possible, because if she's able to put out damage, she's just going to melt through the enemy team, whose really only tanky member is the Cho'Gath.
The thing is, I do think that Kai'Sa, she also wants to dive into the backline, kill the Misfortune as well. So it's going to be, so you might want to keep Kai'Sa on the backline, but she wants to dive in as interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's something I didn't consider there. So they do have a lot of engage. So yeah, say all their engagers go in. Well, now Kai'Sa literally has a free opportunity to just alt in and just melt people. Definitely something I didn't consider there. A good point. And this is why I'm the play-by-play and not the analyst.
I mean, this is my first time casting. I don't.
Nah, you're a genius. But anyway, we're setting up in the early game here, and you're actually seeing a lot of just posing and stuff like that. And the Zac is sitting in that bush to just check for engages. And that's what the same with the Galio is. You didn't see that really in the earlier games we had, but this is actually pretty normal, particularly in solo queue and stuff like that, to just check that your enemy team isn't coming for an early engage to kind of just cheese you out of some kills. And as you see, they're both all just going to stay here. They're going to spawn. There's probably not going to be any action happening, but this basically self-warding with your champion is pretty vital in the early game to avoid some pretty common cheese tactics.
Yeah, just protecting your jungle, making sure that you can't there's not going to be an early invade or anything that puts your jungler behind or something. And Lilia Lilia wants to get very ahead with and just kind of carry the game on her back sometimes. But Zac, on the other hand, he's kind of just there for kind of the engage, kind of supporting his team. So we might see a little bit of counter jungling.
I think a crucial thing we should also look at too is actually blue team has decided to ward up the top river, particularly in that middle bush. So if Lilia opts to go Zac opts to go for a hard clear and goes for his red and actually goes for a counter jungle attempt, which I don't think he will be able to with the speed of Lilia clear, they're going to see him. But even if he doesn't go for that clear and he's going for the scuttle, they'll know the Zac is top. And knowing where the enemy jungler is, as obvious as it sounds, is extremely powerful. Because say you see the jungler top, well, now your bot lane is super enabled to just kind of go in, because the only person who can even reasonably get there fast is the mid.
And also on top of that, it's going to be kind of important for this Cho'Gath to make sure that he doesn't die in these two Zac ganks.
Yes, definitely being a little bit more disadvantaged there in the early game. But as you see, this is just the power of Lily here. Zac is only on his wolves, and Lilia has just made a almost, not a full clear here, but gotten both buffs, picked up the Gromp, and may look for an aggressive scuttle take, or maybe an early gank. But actually a lot of damage coming down from the Kai'Sa from the early level 2. Oh,
yeah,
no,
there's not a... Oh, no.
Oh, no, she'll heal.
No, she has smite. Wait, does she?
Oh, she has smite? No, she doesn't.
No, she doesn't. I'm getting baited.
I'm getting baited, but it's okay. The kiting should be
there
fine.
We go.
And particularly with the red buff healing over time.
Yeah, he also heals as well, so there's also that. And that's a lot of damage onto the Yone.
Yeah, particularly with the Aftershock coming down from the Galio, just lets him win so many trades. But actually, we got from fighting up in the top lane here. Cho'Gath is baited in the Camille. But to change that out. Camille is a very, very safe laner because of that ability. And honestly, with Cho'Gath, she can evade a lot of his abilities, except for like the silence. But he does have to be point blank. And usually that's not where you want to be against a Camille.
Yeah, we can also see that both junglers know where each other are now. So there might be a little bit of scuffle over this scuttle right here. But it all comes down to lane priority as well. So you can see that Yone, he's backed. But Galio is still in the mid lane. But the top lane, Cho'Gath has the lane priority. Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, that's a big thing too. You notice because like the Galio didn't actually commit to that play, but because it looked like the Galio was threatening to come fight with the Zac over the scuttle, Blue team wisely pulled the Cho'Gath down to contest the scuttle with them. So that's a lot of things you're going to see actually from these. It's just a cross map play. So just a little bit of trading up here. I don't think anybody's going to quite die at this point in the game.
Is very ahead in CS.
Yes, no kidding.
Oh, Lily is going to be able to get this double scuttle as well. So that's going to put her at a it's going to put her at an XP advantage. But with the warding from on the bot side on Sheppard, it's going to keep the Kai'Sa safe. This Kai'Sa Yuumi safe for the time being.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they can just keep kind of vision down here. We got some fighting up in the mid lane, but yeah, if they keep the warding like that on the bottom side, they know the Lily is ahead and she's probably going to be looking bot because that's their strongest pushing lane. And if they keep this vision up, they'll be aware of where she is and they maybe can make a cross map play. They can counter gank or stuff like that. Because though Lilia does a lot of damage, she is very squishy. And with the CC of Zac, you can usually knock her up just long enough for even a lower level Kai'Sa to just melt her. And as you can see, kind of the vision here is just kind of dead on both sides of the map. And you can see the Yone sneaking up through the vision here created by the control ward. But obviously hitting the ward there does kind of give him away, so he abandons that gank potential. And you see the control ward.
Can we go down to bot lane for a second? Did Kai'Sa set up a freeze? I think this is a freeze. Okay, so here we go. This freeze from Kai'Sa, it's kind of denying XP from Miss Fortune and Pyke. Because they're so far up, it's going to be very difficult for Miss Fortune to walk up and get the CS. As you can see, Zac is also on the bot side as well, even though... So that denied them a lot of XP.
Yeah, definitely a good play to set up there, particularly when you have a lane that could potentially be losing. Setting up that freeze just mitigates that, and it also forces the enemy lane to play up very high. Now, luckily, Blue team has a ton of vision up the river, so Zac gank should be fairly predictable, but if, say, they didn't have that vision, you have a pushed up bot lane, and that is a pretty juicy Zac gank that you can pull in there. But actually, speaking of it, here it is. But look, the wards alerted them very early. They back off wisely, and then there's no kill that occurs down there. So this is just how important vision is in this game. And actually, because of that, they also realized they had the ward in that bush, and then John Cena, my boy, goes and clears the ward.
Yeah, just clearing out some of this vision, like making way for this dragon as well. So that,
there's a little bit of scuffle in the mid lane there.
Yeah. But I think this is more of a scuffle in the bot lane.
Yeah, this is more of a scuffle in the bot lane. They're going in here, forces out the flash from the MF, and then probably not going to be able to catch up the Pyke here if he has the dash. But just a great trade coming down. Now, important thing to notice, though, is the freeze does break, but this gives them the bot priority to go look at Dragon and make plays across the map, and even maybe Kai'Sa can back and get some of the gold, because she is at actually a pretty healthy CS advantage.
Yeah, you can also see that Cho'Gath did go for the did push in the wave in the top lane and then went for the recall. And his wave is naturally going to bounce back, so he won't be missing a lot of the CS there. And I do believe that Camille is going to go for a back right now as well. But you can kind of see how lane priority is crucial in the game. And Miss Fortune is not going to die. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. But
I was just holding my breath for a little bit.
You just, yeah, as you noted, it's just, you see how important having this lane prio is. Because of where the lanes are pushed, it enables the jungler to go to certain places. And yeah, and the vision and stuff like that, it enables where your jungler can go. You see, the Zac has went onto the dragon, and we got a little fight coming up in mid lane here. It's going to be the lockup from the Galio. Fortunately, no level 6 on the Lilia, rather. So she, unfortunately, not be able to re-engage on that, and that's the dragon going to be going down for Shep. But you see just how there's no vision, but also because they got bottom prio, they were able to just rotate on this dragon and take it fairly for free. But yeah, just unfortunately have to use that flash to not die to the Pyke. No, he doesn't quite have the ult, and that's just very, very good play by Sheppard to use their wave advantage, but also just utilize the fact that there's no vision on the side of Jasper place in the river to just make that play.
Galio lost his flash, and that's actually good. It might not seem that big, but it's actually going to be kind of crucial if there's a team fight that's going to happen in the next minutes. And mainly because Galio, if he does have the flash, it gives him the ability to flash taunt, and it can catch the members of Jasper Place off guard, and it's all going to be crucial to catching this MF as well. So it doesn't seem like a big loss, but in the grand scheme, it actually is.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, as much as there is a little fighting up in the top lane, I don't think there's going to be a ton of kill pressure outside of maybe Camille overcommitting and not realizing how much damage Cho'Gath ult does, rather.
Oh no.
But I think it's just going to be a lot of poking back and forth in a lot of these lanes, because obviously Galio is really too tanky for Yone to melt. I think the bot lane is the only place you're really going to see any heavy engages, but it's probably going to take jungler presence for kills to go down in this game, particularly with how close the laners are and just honestly what champions they've picked.
Also, on the idea of Cho'Gath ultimate Feast, Lilia, she can clear the jungle lily path. She's already a level up onto the Zac, and if you're a level up in the jungle and you have a Cho'Gath Feast, that's kind of like a guaranteed objective. So there's no possible way that Zac should be able to steal this Rift Herald, or even future objectives such as Dragon. And now we're kind of seeing the bot laners, or not the bot laners, the support kind of roaming up to cover for this Rift Herald being taken.
Yeah, and a crucial thing to note is that control ward just sitting in the bush there. Just let Ross Sheppard know the entire time this was happening. But as you were saying, just between that Cho'Gath Feast and the Lilia being ahead, it's very hard for Ross Sheppard to contest at all. Like, sure, they know what's going on, but because of that lovely rotate from Jasper Place and the fact that their junglers ahead in the Cho'Gath Feast, they can't really contest it. Now, I think you might see some meaty play here from the Kai'Sa if the MF decides to overcommit and walk up with the lane.
Too many minions, though. They can't.
Yeah, the minions are probably going to do a little too much damage to want to go in there, but still some free CS going down and a gank happening up in the top lane.
Yeah, you can kind of see Pyke roaming up to the... The problem is Yuumi doesn't have that luxury, and now we're kind of seeing Camille getting bullied in the top lane as well.
Yeah, and a sleep coming down, but Zac wisely coming in to bail out his top laner, though they do get the Rift Herald down and get the goal. But actually, I think an interesting thing you're seeing in this game as opposed to the last one, usually ganks resulted in kills. But in this one, it's actually usually resulting in them getting lane pressure. They're either just clearing the wave, saving their laner, or they're like dropping Rift Herald. It's a lot more objective focused and trying to like bait a reaction of the other team or force something as opposed to just trying to brute force a kill.
I do think that the Rift Herald going into the top lane was a little... I do think it's more beneficial to get the Yone or get the Misfortune ahead instead of getting the tank ahead.
Yeah, particularly when Cho'Gath just kind of like inevitably scales. And like Yone is struggling a little bit because it is just so difficult to kill Galio.
Yeah.
Now, Galio doesn't really have kill potential on him, but that's also because Yone doesn't have kill potential on him. And then they have a little fight down here in the bot lane. Oh, nice little sidestep here from the Kai'Sa and just kind of outplaying and getting down her damage. But yeah, you really wanted this bot lane to be strong, but what should have been a strong point for Jasper Place has actually just been going in favor of this Yuumi and Kai'Sa.
And you can also see the kind of the CS differential. I believe it's around like I can't do mental math right now. There we go. Yeah, Kai'Sa does have 15 gold, 15 CS over the MF, and that's essentially a kill. That's essentially 300 gold up on the MF. And I believe she has a pickaxe as well, whereas the MF just has a boot. So that's going to be a little bit more damage, and I don't think Lilia is...
Yeah, no, this is vision from Ross Shep coming down. It's going to be Yuumi ult locking them down with the root, and here's Galio coming in for the follow-up engage, and that's the first kill going down for Ross Sheppard. And that is just a beautiful engage onto here, and the MF, unfortunately, is just going to be picked up on the end of this fight, and it's just going so tragically for Jasper Place, and kills distributed onto them. Just good vision from Ross Sheppard just enabled that fight to go down.
Yeah, that was just really good vision, and I have to say, that was a really bad flash from them. There was no way that you were going to get away from 4 members who have a lot of CC, so just save it for the next time. I have nothing more to say. And this is just in time for the second dragon of the game. In this case, it could be Mountain. You also just saw Zac getting rid of the Blast Punch, so just kind of getting rid of the ability for Lilia to come in for a steal. Just
yeah, exactly. And Cho'Gath is up in the top lane. Sometimes you can get the Feast to like have a little bit more pressure on his objectives. He does have TP, and he is coming down, but the Dragon is a little bit low, and they do secure it before the Cho'Gath comes in. He actually probably couldn't have come and stole that. We've got a big fight coming in. Huge Zackle knocking up 3 members. MFL melting them down on the side, and Camille's knocking them down while Cho'Gath runs down the AD carry. I'm just kidding. It's going the other way around, and Cho'Gath's dying on the bottom side. But Yone is just putting up such a great fight, but unfortunately gets taunted up, and that should be the end in a really split fight, but excellently played by Ross Sheppard to play around who was strong and just break apart that Jasper plays comp and get themselves more kills. And this is exactly where Ross Sheppard wants to be.
Yeah, I believe that was nearly an ace on this. So they're going to be able to use this advantage to knock down some of these turret plates and accelerate this gold lead even more. So there are 4,000 gold ahead, more than 4,000 gold ahead, and it's just going to bloom even more. Unless if Lilia.
All right, you ready to see some Lilia damage? Just kidding, the man's too tanky, but Lilia's so fast, running him down, forces out the flash. Oh, big shield coming out from Camille might actually be able to turn this fight in his favor. Oh, Lilia gets him on the side, and the burn is gonna get her probably a double kill, but no, I think on that minion. Oh, but it's bowling time. No, you can't hit the chain shot, and Lilia almost getting out with a double kill there, but a very positive play for the Lilia.
Yeah, Lilia is going to want to kind of get ahead, and Zach, he is caught up in levels, so the advantage that Lilia had in it's kind of been mitigated for the lane priority that, okay, that's...
I think that's honestly just denying the Yone from taking it, but actually is holding him up for so long. The Galio's going to get the speed from the teleport into the Proto Belt, and that's actually going to be Yone dying there. Man, that is a 9,000 IQ play coming down from Ross Sheppard. Excellent play by the Zach to hold the Yone under the tower as long as humanly possible. We got some trading up in the top lane.
Yeah, the question that I was a little bit confused about was why Yone used his dash to get the turret. Like, I was just wondering why he dashed forward, because you don't have vision around your side. You don't have vision around side jungle area. So Zach, he can just come flying out, and Galio, he can also just use the ultimate to get on top of the Zach. So I think that was also another mistake from Jasper plays, and it's kind of these small small mistakes that have been allowing Ross Sheppard to get this advantage.
Yeah, particularly because they're sitting up high on the Galio and the Kai'Sa. But actually, we got a little roam into mid lane here. But I think the Galio is probably going to be able to just barely escape. Oh, nice little hook from here. I might have just cursed him. But there's so much damage coming down from the Galio, just far ahead. The Protobelt damage is just stacking up. And he's looking for the finish off here. The dash comes off of cooldown. And they're knocking up the Yone. And this play has went so wrong for Jasper Place. And just the fed Galio just kind of slapping them with his wallet and taking home some money.
Yeah, unless if the misfortune was also there, I don't think Yone point of the and a Pike is going to have enough damage to kill a Galio, who has the steel plated steel caps, which gives him a lot of like armor.
And particularly the aftershock too, just making him so tanky in that situation, and having the Protobelt to just re-engage on him. Now it's a good roam from the rest of his team to respond, but it's just the Galio is just so potent when you have this Protobelt, because not only are you super tanky from the aftershock, but you can just go in with the Protobelt, do so much damage, and just like these are the two characters you want to be fed on your team. Like the Kai'Sa is obviously your carry, you got the Yuumi to sustain them, but Galio being able to do both damage and be ridiculously tanky right now just enables this Kai'Sa to do almost anything they want during team fights. And obviously you've got the big Zac engage too, so this is going to be very difficult for Jasper Place to come back from, just because of the nature of the team comp of Ross Sheppard.
Yeah, you can see how much like Kai'Sa is ahead of Misfortune, and Kai'Sa, she's going to be kind of the primary carry on this side while Camille goes in.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to be able to cut off this Cho'Gath here. He's just a little bit too tanky, knocking up the Camille, but we got a huge taunt coming down, but holds it for a little too long, getting a little too greedy, and the Yone gets the re-engage. Big engage from Lilia. Oh my goodness, look at the sleep coming down, but the Galio knocks them all up, and here's Kai'Sa coming down from the bottom lane. Oh, just so much damage on here, and they're just too tanky to kill. Jasper Place played that so well, but the re-engage from Ross Sheppard just completely turns it in their favor, and they just have so much damage. They're too far ahead, and it's just so difficult for Jasper Place to win these fights.
You can just kind of see the response from Ross Sheppard. The Camille was in a little bit, but you have this Galio ultimate, you have the Kaisa flying in as well to back everyone up, and they eventually just had. And these fights they have been happening right before the dragon spawns. And there's another kill onto the MF.
Yeah, a little pick on the side lane here. I think the Pyke is not going to quite be able to get away from this. No. Oh, and the Kaisa snipe secures the kill for the Zac, and the Dragon's up here. That's the third one coming down for Ross Sheppard. And this gold lead is just gigantic. They have a huge team fight comp, and none of their champs really fall off in the game. So, I mean, it's hard to mitigate. Yeah. What do you think Jasper Place can do to do this? I think it's going to take some big mistakes from Ross Sheppard for Jasper Place to even have a hope.
Yeah, honestly, like... Ocean Soul is going to be up at 23 minutes. It is very early in a game, and lots of people will argue that it's the most broken soul in the game. Well, Jasper plays what they have to do to kind of get ahead or get back into the game. They kind of need to stop getting picked off, and also kind of like just get the wombo combo if you can. When in this 3-man sweep that
that's a lot of damage. Oh my goodness, just instantly melts the deer. And yeah, they'll just, this Galio is just so fed. Damage, tankiness, everything you want in the character at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Lilia, if she got this, imagine if a misfortune bullet time was on top of that. Imagine how much damage that would be. I think they need to stop playing when they don't have a numbers, or stop engaging when they don't have a numbers advantage, and kind of play around that.
Yeah, because they do have a very strong initial engage and team fight. They can melt the squishies if they layer their abilities right. Now, what they don't win is the extended team fight, as you're kind of pointing out, because the counter engage from Ross Sheppard is just too strong. Because as you see, Zac can just jump in here. The Galio's nearby, which they aren't for this play. You can just jump on top of them. This is a huge ult coming down from the Yuumi. And there's just so much CC, so many ways to get these characters around. And as I was talking about earlier, speed is the meta. And you might be able to put him to sleep, but it's kind of hard to damage him when he's 20 years away. And unfortunately, the whiffed ult coming out. And then it's just Ross Sheppard cleanly executing the tower dive and just working towards their advantage.
Yeah, right there, Jasper Place, they did not have control over their own jungle. So you saw that Ross Sheppard, they have all these wards at the top. Not on the top, on the bot side. And Misfortune and Pyke, they didn't really have a business of being there. There was no objective, there was no dragon to be taken, so just kind of give them this turret and try to find something else on the other side.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I think the difficult part too for Jasper Place is even if they do kind of slow down the game, allow themselves to farm a bit, I don't know about that teleport. That turret's about to die, but actually with it being the Cho'Gath will be enough to get the Camille off the turret. Boy. That's a big boy. Even though he might be down 2 levels, very, very hard to break through that. But yeah, as I was talking about earlier, I think it's very hard for Jasper Place to... Oh no, it's another dead deer! Oh, but then lock up onto the thing. Will we get a re-engage from the Galio? No, probably the Zac just going to use ult to get out of there. As I've been trying to say for the last little bit, it's going to be very difficult for Jasper Place to come back because they don't have a lot of scaling picks. But no, we're not allowed to talk. It's fight time in the top lane. That's Camille locking down and the exhaust coming onto the Cho'Gath. Not even going to get close to execute range. And that's just another kill donated onto the Kaisa. And she's just going to be taking over this game.
And guess what? Yeah. 20 minutes. Baron is up.
Oh yeah, just so much pressure there as well.
Yeah, so if you can get this top tier 1 turret, which they're just going to easily knock down, it denies a lot of the vision that these turrets will give, and kind of setting Ross Sheppard up for a Baron take. That was close. Yeah,
that was close going for it, but as you see, they have, Ross Sheppard has a lot of vision down here too. You can just see throughout the jungle. They have vision from almost every single approach from the side of Jasper Place's jungle. So it looks like they are setting up for this Baron, or they're going to look to split push and maybe take down a wave. But also, if you look at the bottom side too, they have ridiculous warding down there too. So they're almost like pre-prepped for the Dragon, and they're set up for the Baron here. So there's just so much pressure, so much they can work around. Just the vision control from Ross Sheppard has actually been fantastic this game. And they're looking for maybe a little bit fight here in there. Oh, he sees
it keeps getting cutting out.
The vision is so crucial. But we got a big sleep coming out here, but the Kaisa ults in, finishes off the Lilia, and that's just going to be the slow collapse onto the Cho'Gath, and that is all the prio you need to go into that Baron and run it down a lane. And as you can see, Dragon is spawning very soon in the bottom lane, and it's unlikely they'll be able to reassert pressure and deny that soul point. And it looks like they're looking for a little bit more here on the side of Sheppard, but the Speedy Boys are getting out. But Yukio jumps in with the ult. All right, looks like the other team's lagging behind a little bit, but the Galio ult coming down, giving her resistances and just being able to tank that turret. Oh, the taunt's coming down, and that's the kill on to the Misfortune. You can say it's in her name when you get run down by a Galio.
Yeah, Sheppard are just so far ahead at this point. Looks like that they're going to be turning, they might turn towards the Baron with the Galio heading over. Yep, that's what they're going to do. And this is kind of the luxury that they have with being on soul point. They can afford to give up the Ocean Dragon, which Jasper Place might not even, yeah, they might not even go there.
Yeah, because I think the problem they're running into when it comes to taking that dragon, okay, they are going on it now, but they do actually have pushing in lanes too. So if they commit too much to this and don't clear their waves, they're also going to have a bunch of pushing lanes for a team that's just a get Baron. So it's wise to deny the Ocean Soul. But Sheppard has a bunch of throwing lanes. Oh, they're teleporting in here. They want a piece of this. So they are going to get the dragon down, but the Galio is here to zone them out. I think he's honestly tanky enough to take this for his team to get here. You're going to be looking for the Kaisa to look to ult on the side of the fight. And here comes the teleport coming down from the Camille. And this Galio is just hard getting this fight. Sure, he goes down, but he bought so much time. Forced them to stay around the dragon pit, and it's just cleanup time for Sheppard. And having that Baron buff, they're likely just going to pick a lane, run it down, and just take so much off of this. A beautiful teleport coming out from Galio and knowing exactly what his limits were in that fight.
Yeah, and that's the ace coming out as well. You can see how, like, if once you get ahead with Kaisa, with Camille, the pressure just keeps building and building up. And Jasper Place, they had to go for the dragon, because if they gave Ocean Soul over to Sheppard, that probably would have just been game over at that point. But they weren't able to execute the ensuing team fight, and I think that he's dead as well. Yep.
That's a good pick onto the Pike there, denying Jasper Place really any chance of getting back here with a fight. Now, important thing too to note with Sheppard is they have a lot of side lane pressure as well through the Camille, even the Galio, and the Kaisa with Yuumi on her. So they have Baron buff and they have side lane prio in almost every lane. So there's just so much they can do.
Lilia just also keeps getting caught out. Like she had a pretty good early game, getting ahead of the Dax, but she hasn't been able to use that advantage, and she has been in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, unfortunately, it just kind of came down to that, and then her lanes got behind, and that winning lane that they should have had bot lane, unfortunately went in the favor of the Kaisa, and it's just going down here, and you see they're doing a really nice 4-1 split. So they have all their members in. Actually, sorry, I thought 3-2 split. You know, Yuumi confuses me, man. She's just chilling on the Camille, but it's a good split to do because they're getting so much pressure off you. Because look, if they send somebody to deal with this bot lane, like they just lose this fight mid lane. But you know what? They probably honestly lose this fight mid lane anyways. Oh, a huge Zac ult coming down. The Yone ult whiffs, the Galio ult knocking them down. Here comes the big taunt coming on down onto one member, but it doesn't matter. The Kaisa is just uncontested, laying down damage, and I wonder if they're going to give the boy the pentakill. Nope, they're going to agree upon the top. It's quite unfortunate. You know, going to flame the team. It's like, bro, where's my penta? But actually, they're going down, getting the damage here. Pike going to go for a sneezy execute, but doesn't quite get it off. And it's the Kaisa just cleaning up the fight there. Unfortunately, no penta, because the other team is like, no, pad my KDs, bro. And that's a nice finish off for Sheppard. Just excellently played. They played around their losing matchups, played their jungle well, and just took a lead and never let it go.
Yeah. Once you, like I said before, once you kind of get ahead, the early scaling just kind of, and Kaisa, Camille, Galio even, they just got so far ahead, and Jasper Place, it would have been very difficult for them to come back, and they weren't able to make that happen this game.
Yeah, definitely it would have required probably some errors on the side of Sheppard for Jasper Place to run back that game. But anyway, we've reached the end of our show for today. Thank you all for coming out to the first day of the first inaugural Edmonton Public Schools Spring League of Legends Tournament. I've been John the Batman Hat, joined by...
Swanner.
And we hope you all enjoyed the show. I know we had a little bit of problems here and there, but it got near the end here, and honestly, we finished on one heck of a banger of a game. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow. We'll be starting at 12 sharp, and we hope to see you there.
See you tomorrow.